Hey everybody, welcome back to TechOdyssey. So today I'm here with an exciting new phone, and this time it's the brand new POCO X3 Pro. So last time we looked at a phone that looks identical to this, it was called the Xiaomi POCO X3 NFC. And things have changed a little bit since then because POCO now has their own brand. They're not Xiaomi POCO anymore, they're POCO. So the POCO X3 Pro, that makes a little bit more sense. But still a very, very good phone. It brings a lot to the table. This is the first time I have used a phone with the brand new Snapdragon 860, which means you get basically all the power of the 865, but you don't get the 5G. So this is a 4G LTE phone. So all you guys out there who are tired of seeing the 5G tag attached to a phone and you think it's a gimmick, this one right here is for you because it's only got LTE. But lots of other great things, 120 hertz refresh rate, 1080p Full HD Plus display, stereo speakers, 5,000 milliamp battery. It's got a lot, and we're going to talk about it in this video. But before we get into all this, I do want to say, if this is your first time stopping by the channel, I appreciate you being here. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. Now let's see how pro the POCO X3 Pro actually is. So the first thing you're going to notice on the back of the phone when you take it out is the camera module. Now, it looks identical to the one that's on the POCO X3 NFC, but it's actually a little bit different. This one has a 48 megapixel primary camera, whereas the X3 NFC has a 64. This one also has an 8 megapixel ultra wide instead of the 13, but they both have the 2 megapixel depth sensor and also the macro lens camera, so you can get your up close and personal National Geographic shots, all that good stuff. So I'll talk about the camera more later. It's just that this is a really interesting camera bump and design on the back. Underneath the hood, it has the Snapdragon 860, which is the brand new processor. It's basically flagship level speed and performance, but you don't have the 5G. If you don't care about 5G, again, that's a good selling point for you. You're not paying the extra money for that. But you know, when you get an 8 series processor, that means power. That means top of the line. 860, it will do pretty much anything you want it to do without a hiccup. I have not run into any issues. Now, there are two different storage options under the hood. You can get a 128 storage model with 6 gigs of RAM, or you get a 256 model with 8 gigs of RAM. I have the 128 and 6, and I don't have any problems with it. It runs really, really fast. It's super zippy, and it's also got the 120 hertz refresh rate. It has expandable storage up to 1 terabyte, so if you're worried about not having enough storage, you can toss an SD card in there and call it a day. No worries there. It has a 240 hertz sampling rate on the screen. Now, you might not be familiar with that, and that's something that's actually really nice. It gives you a really, really zippy and fast performance when you're playing games, when you're doing anything that involves touching the screen. If you've ever used some cheaper phones or some older phones and noticed there was a little bit of a lag whenever you touch the screen before it would do something, even if it was just like a hair second, that is not here at all. 240 hertz sampling rate. Whenever you touch stuff on the screen, when you're moving the joysticks on the screen, when you're shooting, when you're playing anything interactive on this, it registers like that, super fast. So that's where the 240 hertz sampling rate comes in. And then you have the 120 hertz refresh rate, which is how quickly the screen display refreshes. So 120 hertz means that it refreshes what's on the screen 120 times in 1 second, as opposed to a normal standard rate of 60. Now, if you have an iPhone or you're familiar with them, they're still stuck in the 60 hertz world, whereas a lot of different companies like Xiaomi, like POCO, like Samsung have embraced the higher refresh rate. I like it. I think it makes a difference. I think that I can tell the difference when I'm playing games, when you're scrolling through your feed. It makes all of this stuff right here seem super smooth because it's refreshing so fast. So it gives a really nice, smooth experience, and I like it, especially for gameplay, because it makes all the movement and the shooting and the motion blur, it reduces that so you get a better picture of what's going on. You can see better. So that'll help you out with your game. Also important to note is the phone comes with a pre-installed screen protector, which is already on the phone, and it comes with this clear case. So you can put the case on the phone, already got the screen protector protected straight out of the box. You don't have to buy any additional accessories, and that's just one nice thing that POCO does. In addition to giving you a good phone for a low price, they also give you the necessities so that your phone is protected and you don't have to worry about it while you wait for an aftermarket one, you want to pick another one up, or genuinely you just want to make sure that your phone is safe. So cool there that that's also in the box. So some other things. You can see here it's got a brilliant 6.67 inch LCD display. It's HDR10, and it goes at about 450 nits of brightness. It's not the brightest panel in the world. If you take this outside, you're definitely going to notice that you can't see as well, even with the brightness turned all the way up. But for normal lighting, indoors especially, it looks perfectly fine. 1500 to 1 contrast ratio, and it's nice for playing games. It looks good. LCD, no problems there. And that's just one of the areas where you're talking about getting like a more budget phone like this, where you're not paying $800-900. It doesn't have the most beautiful display. It doesn't have an AMOLED. It doesn't have HDR10 plus. It doesn't have 1500 nits of brightness. So that's kind of a distinction area there. Does it matter? Not really. I mean, at this price point, I think that's perfectly fine. Front-facing selfie camera takes perfectly good pictures. And then on the back, like I said, you've got the 48 megapixel, you've got the 8, and then the 2 deuces, the depth sensor and also the macro lens camera. Takes really good pictures, surprisingly. I did not expect it to take as good pictures as it did. Here are some samples. You can see these. Now, this is right here will show off some of the stuff. I went out to Las Vegas. I went out to Red Rock Canyon. I went and did a lot of sightseeing. I saw a lot of things. So I brought that back, and you can see what some of it looks like. Definitely takes better pictures and better video during the daytime. At nighttime, it's not as good. The sensor just is not big enough. It's got a 1/2-inch sensor for the primary shooter, which is okay when you've got ideal lighting, but when you're talking about nighttime, it's got a problem with the hunting focus on the video, and the sharpness just isn't there. Now, front-facing selfie camera, you got 20 megapixels, very adequate, takes nice, good selfies, so you've got that going for you as well, and it shoots portrait mode pictures on the back as well as the front, so you're covered both ways, and it even has the dual video where it records on both cameras at the same time. Here, let's go ahead and take a look at some video samples. So one of the cool features with the POCO X3 Pro is it has this nice dual video mode, which has been in a lot of the Android phones here lately. So you can see that it picks up the video on the front-facing camera as well as the selfie camera at the same time. And this technology has been around for a little while, but it's just now finally kind of going mainstream with the latest releases of Android. But you can see here it works really well on the POCO. So we're here inside the Luxor right now, and this is with the front-facing selfie camera, which is capable of 1080p at 30 frames per second. Unfortunately, it doesn't do 4K, and it doesn't do 60 frames per second, but you can see that it works pretty well. This isn't really the big selling point for this phone, but it's still capable of shooting some okay video if you want it to. All right, pretty good, huh? You can see there, pretty decent video, especially during the daytime. I've got a whole other video dedicated to this to go more in depth, to take a look at the pictures, take the video samples and all that stuff. So stay tuned and check that out as well. You can see a little pop-up right there. You can click on that or just go to it after the video's over. Also, some other things. It doesn't have an official IP rating. It does not have wireless charging. It does have up to 33-watt wired charging. It does come with a 33-watt charger, but it only works internationally. It does not work in the US. So if you're one of my US followers, you're going to have to use some other USB-C charging cable. It will charge up to 33 watts, which I think is good. It's got a 5,160 milliamp battery. Mostly I'm just going to refer to it as 5,000 milliamp battery because I don't want to say 5160 over and over, but you have been told. It also has UFS 3.1 storage, which means that it installs things, it opens things really quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's another premium flagship thing. That's like Samsung. They have the latest storage speeds, UFS 3.1, top of the line. Bluetooth 5.0, you can listen to all your earbuds wirelessly, listen to all your tunes, your jams, you can play your games and enjoy your stuff that way. But wait, there's more. It even has stereo speakers. So it's got the dedicated speaker on the bottom, and then here up top, it's got the speaker mixed in with the handset, so you get the nice stereo effect when it comes to the sound. You can hear really well. It's great for listening to music, and it's especially great for playing games. And that's one of the things that this phone is really oriented around, is playing games. It's really, really good as far as a gaming phone. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the gameplay footage so you can get a feel for this as well. I tested out Call of Duty Mobile, I tested out PUBG, I tested out Fortnite, I tested out all the AAA titles that everybody really likes to play, and it hammers them home. No problems here. 120 hertz, really high refresh rate. You've also got the high frames per second because of the power that this has under the hood. So you get a really good gameplay experience on pretty much any AAA title that's out there on the phone. And last but not least, it's running Xiaomi's MIUI 12 based on Android 11. So we're not talking Android 9, we're not talking Android 10. It has Android 11. So when you look at everything that's in here, you got Android 11, you got an 8 series Snapdragon processor, 120 hertz refresh rate, dual stereo speakers, 240 hertz sampling rate on the screen. You've got great haptic feedback in here. It's got a great motor for haptic feedback, which is good for playing games. It's good for when you're typing. It's got a really nice typing experience as well. And I forgot to talk about this. It's got the fingerprint sensor on the side over here, which works really well. See how fast that works? So you got the great fingerprint sensor. And you've also got facial recognition technology, which is super fast as well. You see that? Bam. So all that. You've got everything you could possibly ask for and more in this phone. It works well, and you're not paying an arm and a leg to get it. And it even has NFC, so you can do your contactless payment methods. And it has an IR blaster, so you can use that if you like to use that for controlling your TV and all other cool stuff. Some people really like the IR blaster. It's in there. And it even has a headphone jack on the bottom, so you can listen to your tunes that way if you still got a pair of wired headphones or earbuds laying around. So it's a very, very complimentary phone, well-rounded, and has every possible feature I think you could ask for inside of a device. The only issue here is, of course, it doesn't have 5G, which we knew that from the get-go. I talked about this, Snapdragon 860, 4G LTE only. However, in a lot of markets, this is selling and 5G is not a priority right now. And also, it may not be a priority for you. And it works perfectly fine with my T-Mobile SIM card in here. I have not had any drop calls. It works fine when I'm making phone calls. You can hear good on the handset speaker. So if anybody's curious about that, it's perfectly good for phone calls. And LTE data speeds, I'm getting 40, 50 megs download. I'm getting 15 megs upload. I'm not having any issues. It runs just as well as the 4G LTE on my other phones. Now, this could vary by the area that you're in because depending on what service you use and availability of particular LTE bands, that could impact performance. This is not a phone designed for the US market, so I cannot guarantee how well it will work for you. But I can tell you that I'm using T-Mobile, and I'd use it out in Las Vegas. I use it here in Houston. I've not had any issues whatsoever. It's not really so much of a modern problem when it comes to a lot of these phones. That was a bigger deal years ago when there were more limited LTE frequencies that phones used. So that's about it as far as my full review on the POCO X3 Pro. Really good phone. If you want to get an inexpensive phone, if you want to get tons of power, if you want to get a flagship level phone, which is what this is, it gives you basically everything. Yes, is the video and the camera as good as like an iPhone or a Samsung? No, but you're not paying the extra $700 to get those. So I think those are fair compromises. I'm not really too worried about it here. Full HD plus display, HDR10. It looks perfectly good, and you can enjoy it whether you're playing games, whether you're surfing the internet, whether you're doing your social media. It's all here at your fingertips, and the 5,000 milliamp battery will last you all day. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments regarding the POCO X3 Pro, please feel free to sound off in the comment section. I will get back with you. And if you enjoy the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.